Hi, my name is Jerson Campos. In this episode, we will focus on one of the 12 principles of multimedia learning. The 12 principles of multimedia learning was developed by Richard E. Mayer and has helped shape how multimedia learning is designed in ways that are consistent with how humans learn. We're going to be focusing on principle number 3, the redundancy principle. Now, this doesn't mean to repeat something over and over and over until the learner actually remembers the material. In Richard E. Mayer's book, Multimedia Learning, he states that people learn better from graphics and narration than from graphics, narration, and on-screen text. And this is where the word redundancy comes into play, because by adding graphics and narration, you are repeating the message but in different formats. This principle relies on the dual-channel assumption that people can process material both visually and auditorially. When you present the material with audio, it gets processed by their auditory channel. Adding visual elements like pictures or animations gets processed by the visual channel. These messages then get combined in their working memory for a complete and much more effective learning event than if the message was presented by visual or auditory channels alone. Well, what about learners who prefer printed words? The redundancy principle isn't a call to end all on-screen text, but it is a good practice to focus the message and select a few key words or phrases. When you add a large amount of on-screen text like what is being narrated word for word, it creates competition with any other visual elements and overworks the visual channel and can stress the auditory channel because their user is trying to figure out what to focus on. So we end up overloading the learner's processing capacity and they won't be able to recall the material. This is the limited capacity assumption. It states that humans are limited in the amount of information that can be processed in each channel at one time. This means that we can only hold a few images or words in our working memory at a time before our brains are overloaded. Now, this doesn't mean that you should do away with all text, but you should sum up the message with a few key bullet points or phrases to emphasize the important points. This will lead to better and memorable learning events. On a side note, I do on certain occasions add complete on-screen text. One of these occasions is when the material has legal disclaimers or legal information that must be read by the learner. What I've done in the past is only present the text with narration. I don't want to distract the learner from the text. I will do this for a few slides and only the text that has been designated need to know. For the rest of the slides, I present the material like I would any other course. So in short, text and narration is okay, images and narration is better, images and text and narration is not good unless you keep the text to a minimum, only emphasizing key points or phrases. Alright, well that's it for this episode. See you next time. Or phrases.